I don't like the word philanthropy to begin with because it conjures things in one's mind that it's elitist. So I prefer the word giving. Being philanthropic was sort of, you just didn't use the word and you didn't talk about it. But now philanthropy and giving is out in the big wide world now, and I think everyone feels comfortable about talking about giving. Giving Australia is, if I could use that, we could all use that, because that's what it's, to me, that's what it's all about.
It was very exciting, and I don't think we were really expecting it at all. And I suppose it's very nice to be recognised for what we are trying to do, but there's an awful lot of other philanthropic people out there, volunteers, everybody in that sort of realm. Yeah.
We prefer not being in the limelight. So
yeah, well, that's another point.
It's all, should I say, slightly difficult for us to be exposed to the public, because we like to just work in the background, under the radar, and just doing good things without looking for recognition.
You do like to say we should be transparent too, and that was why we do these sort of things.
Well, I think that's the only, I always wanted to hide under a bushel. But yes, you do have to be, I mean that's the only way to spread the word, the giving, the philanthropy is by it's being open about it. In the earliest experience I had of philanthropy was going with my mother, because I was brought up in Sydney, was going with my mother and doing Meals on Wheels through Redfern. And Redfern and Woolloomooloo in those days weren't what they are today. I'm talking about the 1960s, and they were the people that we went to take Meals on Wheels to lived in one little room, and it just opened my whole mind to the fact that here was my mother. She didn't have to. She was quite well established. She didn't have to do this, but it was her way of giving back to society. And some of these people lived in the most atrocious dwellings. And yes, and so that's where the giving and the philanthropy probably melted. Gave me the taste, if you can put it like that.
We lived in the country for 20 years, and our first 20 years of marriage, and so we know a lot of the problems that are out there with schooling and isolation. Not that we were that isolated, but we have friends that are further out west, and we know about the stories, and we love visiting and hearing, and hopefully getting involved and helping other organisations that are out there, because we know how important it is.
I think we were isolated.
I know. We had the kerosene refrigerator and a little tiny cottage. So yes, no, we did. It was wonderful.
And of course, we brought up 4 daughters in that environment. The foundation has funded some scholarships at the University of the Sunshine Coast. And it's for teachers to go out and spend, or trainee teachers to go out and spend some time in the rural and regional Australia while for part of their practical work. It costs money to go out there and live out there for 6 weeks or whatever it is during a school term. But we're amazed. These are kids that have never been bush before or been to rural and regional Queensland, and they go out there, and 85% of them end up being employed as teachers in those. And we've been funding this for 10 years, and we learned today at our foundation meeting that other universities are looking at the University of Sunshine Coast to say, why is this working so well?
We do fund Indigenous communities, especially one up at Lockhart River. We're very involved in championing Lockhart River through a foundation called the Puya Foundation. That comes to mind, and then we're also helping another organisation called Outback Futures, which is just...
You only allowed one.
No, I've got lots, but anyway, that's another one, because that's very rural. That's going out to help with telehealth with families, not just children or adults, but families that are having problems with physiotherapy or occupational therapy. Mental health's a big thing, of course. They're out there and they're very needed. And then the other one, which I have mentioned, which I'm always very proud of, the foundation, that when we went to Darwin and we, through the YWCA, we funded a program called Women of Worth, which were incarcerated women in prison. So we went there and visited that. That's what we like to do, is to go in and be able to see what we're going to give and approve of it, and then see that it worked. And then that now has been taken over by the government, because sometimes philanthropists need to go in there and show the government what can be done and prove that it's well worth funding, and then they will hopefully take it over, which is happening, isn't it? Quite a few of the things that we're funding.
A lot of our work is in the arts sector. Sort of almost 85% of our work is in the arts sector, and we've just seen how the arts sector through this pandemic have just suffered incredibly, and they don't qualify. A lot of them don't qualify for the JobKeeper seeker or keeper reimbursement. I just think we've all got the capacity to give, and whatever way that is, whether it's I think our volunteers are unsung heroes, and that is again part of philanthropy. Volunteering is part of philanthropy, and we forget that. We seem to think philanthropy is about giving money, but in the real, true context of it all, it goes beyond dollars. And so I just say to anyone, there's many ways that you can give, and it's not necessarily money. We have some very bright people. If they can go on boards and freely give of their expertise, that's again giving.
The joy of giving is a privilege and well worth it, and we feel very lucky to be doing it.